I've gathered all this stuff and it's in my way. Well, stuff's good, isn't it? It's nice to gather stuff. To a point, yes? Do you have only the best stuff around you? Or do you have everything you've ever gathered with you? Esther has an airplane hangar full of everything but an airplane. Stuff. So that stuff is all the stuff, Esther's favorite word, is all the stuff, because she can use it for so many different things, is all the stuff, all the things, all those material things that you've gathered that are still with you. Are they all still relevant to your now experience? Some of them, yes. And yet still you have some of it that you no longer need or see. It's in boxes, or it's in drawers, or it's in cabinets. Did you see all of your stuff today? Well, the reason that we're playing with you about your stuff is because you've gathered quite a bit of it over time. And we know new things happen and you move into a new space and the new stuff becomes more relevant, like your clothes closet. There are all those clothes and only some of them that you wear. And it's a bit like the beliefs that you hold. You've been gathering them up along your way and holding many of them to you much longer than the time that they serve you. A belief is just a thought that you keep thinking, and every thought you think still has the potential of attracting. But the question is, which of those thoughts that are now not relevant to where you now are and are certainly not helpful in helping you move from where you are to where you want to be? We just think it would be a good idea, because you understand it about your stuff. You've got stuff that is inactive in your experience. You just don't get it out and look at it every day. It's off in that room, or off in that building, or it's in somebody else's garage, or you put it over there, and you don't think about it hardly ever. It's irrelevant to your now experience. If it were relevant to your now experience, you'd bring it right to where you are and put it on the nightstand, yes? But because it's irrelevant to your experience, you tend to let it go. Even if you don't remove it completely from your experience, you remove it by your lack of attention to it from your active experience. You are following? And yet there are beliefs that you've been dragging around that don't serve you, that you don't put in the closet and leave them there unnoticed. You bring them out every day and dust them. And in doing so, in bringing them out every day and dusting them off and showing them to others, I hate this thing, but look at it. I didn't like it the first time I ran across it, but I take it everywhere I go and I show it to everyone I know. And we think that it might be a good idea to begin sifting through your belief closet in the way that you've been sifting through your clothes closet, and just finally acknowledge, I'm not wearing that anymore, I'm not wearing that anymore, I'm not wearing that anymore, I don't need that, I don't need that, I really, really like that. In other words, at one time it served me, at one time I wore it a lot, but now it's out of fashion. It's not up to speed with what's going on actively now, and so I'm just not going to do that anymore. So how do you allow an unwanted, unproductive, unhelpful belief to become inactive? Just don't get it out and show it to anybody. Don't talk about it. When you think about it in relationship to where you want it to now be, and just sort of release it. You are the creator of your own reality. Do you know that? And the way you create your own reality is by offering a vibration that law of attraction responds to, by creating a vibration that equals your point of attraction. And your point of attraction is what's coming to you at all times. It's a vibrational response to your vibration. What you think causes those vibrations. Whether you're thinking about something from the past or something in the present or something in the future, your active attention to it in this moment where all of your power is what causes your point of attraction. So a belief, unless it's active, has no drawing power. It has no effect on what's going on in your experience right now. Most humans don't know that because they keep getting them out and dusting them off. They keep activating those beliefs by attention. They'll see something on television, or they'll read a book, or they'll be talking to someone across the table, and someone else who's having an experience begins to mention something, and as they mention it, you think about it, and as you think about it, you add to it, and as you add to it, you can reactivate a belief in about 17 seconds. Get past the 68-second mark, which is 17, 17, 17, 17, 17. Get past the 68-second mark, and you've got an active enough belief that it is now affecting your relationship with the manifestations that you're really looking for. So I want to just briefly give you the big picture. You were source energy before you came into this physical body, and the most of you still is. In other words, it's just a little bitty bit of you that's here now. And we don't want to minimize the importance of you in your now personality, but we do want you to put it in perspective with all that you really are, with all that you have become, and with all that you are every day becoming. So as you're here in this physical body, exploring the magnificent details of this time-space reality, you keep synthesizing the data. You just can't help but observe it, notice it, relate to it, and have an opinion about it. You can't help but do that. Your perspective demands it. You're selfish, and we mean that in every bit the most positive way that we can offer it. Your selfish perspective, from your selfish point of view of self, causes you to notice and conclude and decide. So as you are moving about your day, sifting through the data, many things are occurring to you, and your preferences are noted by the larger part of you, even if you don't have time to talk about them to yourself or to those around you. In other words, when something feels off to you, you launch a rocket of what you think from your now perspective would be the improved version of that. And you're doing it at all levels of your being. It is, in fact, what the evolution of all species is about. You just can't help but stand in your now, perceiving from your point of self, without acknowledging an improvement. It is the orientation of all that is, and it is absolutely the orientation of that which is you. Leading edge creators, pioneers in a sense, out here on the leading edge of thought, having exposure to life experiences, which is giving birth to new rockets of desire. It is the perfect setup. You knew it when you came. So you're launching these rockets of desire all day, every day, many more than it would even be helpful if we tried to acknowledge or count, because they are happening at all levels of your being, even cellular levels of your being. You're launching the rockets, launching the rockets, launching these rockets of desires, preferences, improvement, what would be better. And as you're doing that, that larger part of you that we were talking about when we first began becomes the vibrational equivalent, synthesizes into its beingness the new improvement that you have just offered. In other words, the larger part of you, the vibrational part of you, the eternal part of you, the part of you that always has been and always will be, the part of you that's ready for you in all moments of all days, stands as the vibrational equivalent of everything that you have become, and stands in appreciation of it and in collective consciousness with all of the others. And that is, we don't want to upset you in any way, what man wants to call God. It is that collective consciousness of the furthermost expansion of all of that experience, that loving presence that knows well-being and focuses singularly on well-being, never on absence of it. So that larger part of you holds that vibrational equivalent. And now what this gathering is about, or at least what we always want to talk with you about, and it's really what you want to talk about whether you know it's what you want to talk about or not, because everything that you want ties into this completely. But what we want to talk about is your relationship right here, right now, with that expanded part of you. Because everything that you are living is about that. Everything that you are feeling is about that and nothing less than that. In other words, when you feel love, you're in alignment. You have in this moment, by your attention to whatever you're giving your attention to, found the same vibrational offering that the source within you is offering about the same subject. And we want you to know that the source within you does have an opinion about the subject that you are focused upon here and now. That's really worth slowing down a little bit and contemplating, because it means a whole lot of things that you may not even have been thinking about, things that are really important to you when you do think about them. What we just said is, when you have a thought or an opinion about something, the source within you is having a thought and an opinion about that same thing. That means you have the attention of source at all times. That ought to make you feel backed up. That ought to make you feel supported. That ought to make you feel cared for and loved and adored, because that's what it means. So as you are focused upon something and feeling uncomfortable about it, any kind of negative emotion, from mild discomfort to a real panic or distress, that means, and it only means, but it really means, and it's important that it means, but it only means, and we're glad that it means, and we want you to consciously know that it means that your opinion and the opinion of source differs. I hate that guy, you say. And when you feel that distress that you would call anger or revenge or even fear, those emotions are letting you know that you have a vibrational variance from source, who is looking at exactly the same thing at exactly the same time and feeling differently. Differently how? Source loves that guy. We know. Now you want to explain to source why source is wrong, don't you? That's when you're justifying and defending and rationalizing. That's when you're arguing for your limitations. That's when you are digging in because you've got momentum, and we certainly understand that, and you want to explain to someone because what you want is agreement from someone. Esther used to say to Jerry, she'd have something that they were indifferent about, and she would say, well, let's talk about this because I really want to know what you think about this. And after a while, he would grin and say, I don't think you really want to know what I think about this. I think you want my agreement. I think you're looking for my agreement. And that's not a bad thing. It's just misplaced because you're looking for the agreement in the wrong place. You're looking for the agreement. In other words, we know it feels better to you when you've had an experience and something has happened to you, and especially if you didn't like it, and you don't want it to happen to you again, and you don't want it to happen to anybody else. It feels to you like you might want to do some convincing of others that this kind of a manifestation happened to you, and therefore you believe it could happen to others, and you would like to try to prevent them from having the same experience. We know that is your motive in many cases for wanting to get the agreement of others. You feel in your lack of power and strength that if you could gather together in numbers and get more people on your side of the equation, because your side of the equation, let's face it, is always right, yes? So if you can just convince them of the rightness of what you are talking about, and more of them would come to the rightness of what you are believing, then you believe that everything in your world would be all right. But we want you to understand that you're not looking for the agreement from others. You're looking for the vibrational agreement within yourself. You're looking for the agreement that causes your point of attraction to be clear and vivid and powerful and sharp. And most important of all, you're looking for the agreement, or your point of attraction, you're looking for the agreement that lines up with all that you've become, with that larger part of you. You're looking for the agreement that source stands in. You're looking for the fullest part of you. Friends, we know sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but you are looking for the agreement of love, because anything less than that is you diverging from who you are, you watering down the clarity of who you are, you disallowing a larger part of who you are, you offering a weaker vibrational point of attraction than you mean to offer. And that is why you keep wanting to gather together with groups of others in larger and larger numbers to try to make up for the vibrational loss of misalignment with this energy that creates worlds. Did you follow that a little bit? You have access to the energy that creates worlds.